Good morning, everybody. Jayy here with another War of the Visions video, and today is a special day because we are going to be doing a unit preview for Auron from the Final Fantasy X event / anniversary. I'm going to tell you why I am definitely not skipping this guy, and maybe give you some ideas of whether you should go for him, go for Yuna. If you've been thinking about that, you'll see. We're going to do a full preview of this unit, and that's coming up right now. Sweet. So we are going to start by, first of all, saying that, like, my name, like Auronnj, this is the dude I'm named after. So I must pull him. It's kind of just something I'm going to have to run on defense every time for Guild Wars because he's my name's after. You see what I'm saying? Okay. Let's talk about why you should like him, though, because probably none of you, well, maybe like one of you is also... Here we go. We're going to talk about his stats. Auron's stats are actually really impressive. And let's put those on the screen. Okay, we're going to have to do a thing now when we review new units. And that's going to be talking about the difference between their level 99, which is what we could always get them to before, and their level 120. So on the screen here, I've put Auron's level 99 stats on the left. I've put his level 120 stats on the right. In the middle, under that gains column, that is the difference between 120 and 99. Pretty self-explanatory, but this is the first time we've really had to do this. So if you decide to go all in on this guy and take him to level 120, you're going to get another 172 HP, 77 attack, which is pretty nice, 6 TP, 20 magic, 1 starting AP with 6 more max, and then the only other things you're going to get are 46 more dex and 12 more luck. Those are not insignificant stat gains. Now, stats are not the only reason to take a unit from 99 to 120, but for Auron, you're really going to want to highlight like his HP and his attack, and then his like dexterity is going to help him crit. So I think he is getting some important stat boosts from 99 to 120. You could also stop in the middle, like I know there's the different levels you can get to. You don't have to go all the way to 120, but for the sake of unit reviews in the future, I'm going to compare 99 to 120, etc. Now, I want to put two other units that we currently have in global on the screen. And I want to compare Auron at level 120 because that is like peak Auron. This is like, I'm going to go all in and invest in this guy. If you do that, how does he compare to Warrior of Light and Elsie? Because we need to see what kind of unit Auron is going to be. Is he going to be tanky? Is he going to be pure DPS? What is his stats like compared to these other units that we have? Now, Warrior of Light and Elsie are not EX jobbed here. They are at level 99. So we are comparing level 120 Auron to a level 99 couple other units. Far as HP goes, check that out. Auron rocking that 3857 HP. That's more than Warrior of Light and considerably more than Elsie. And Elsie's a pretty tanky girl. Now, Elsie's tank stats come from her resist, right? She's very specific resist bruiser that has sub-jobs that highlight that. Auron is not that. If you're comparing their resists, Auron has some slash resist and some missile resist, but that's really it. He's got that 10 magic resist, which will be nice, and we'll talk about that a little later. He's going to be more of a... His bruiser stats are going to come from his raw HP pool and his defense and spirit, because you can see he's rocking that 6 defense and 10 spirit, which is more defense, at least, than Elsie has. Now, Warrior of Light, obviously, more defense. He's got that 15. Warrior of Light is a true tank. A lot of times you don't expect Warrior of Light to do any damage for you. So the fact that Auron has more HP than the current version Global has of Warrior of Light is a good sign for Auron's survivability, in my opinion. Let's look at attack. 526 attack, way north of both of these units. Significantly north of Elsie, who already hits like a monster. That is a big thing for Auron. He has a boatload of attack. And you can kind of see like, okay, this dude is going to slaughter things. How will he accomplish that? Well, we're going to talk about skills in a minute and you'll kind of see. I do want to highlight just a couple more stats. I'm going to go ahead and highlight them on the screen here. Agility, dexterity, and luck. Okay, he has 58 agility. That makes him faster than Warrior of Light base, and just 1 agility slower than Elsie, who's pretty quick. So his agility's in a good spot. His dexterity and luck are both higher than Warrior of Light and Elsie's, so he's in a good place there as well. The rest of the stats, we're really just not that concerned about. He's a base 3-1 move jump. We expected that. So now that we've looked at his stats, let's pull up his skills and see what we're working with there. Now, he is a new unit, so his master ability is going to give that 10% HP and 15 ice attack buff to his ice allies, and then the other half of his mastery ability is 10 spirit. This isn't a great master ability. 10 spirit's nice, right? And that's what gives him his 10 spirit, like you were seeing on the last page. But that's not like overpowered good. It's just going to help him against mages some, which is fine. He needs that if he's going to go kill him. So, okay, master ability, I'm feeling iffy about it, but it's fine. Support abilities. Now we're going to see Auron start to shine a little bit. His support abilities are very, very good, and give him a little bit of versatility. So first of all, that top one there, and I can't say the name, so I'm sorry, but his sub job, top one, increased defense penetration by 40. That's great. 40 defense pin, and then nullifies blind. Okay, that's whatever. His next one, increase accuracy 20, and then upgrades a skill. Now notice that comes from his pugilist sub job, so the skill upgrade there is a little, well, you got to run pugilist sub to use it. But accuracy is okay. It lets him be into a maybe anti-evasion team, which is a role he can fill, and you'll see that when we get to his abilities more. He also has a 12% agility buff that upgrades a skill from his main job. We'll look at that skill later. More agility, always good. And now let's look at these last two. If you want to go Insano attack mode, Auron, you have both a 24% attack buff that also gives more HP, and a 60% attack buff, the self-sacrifice buff from soldier subjob. So he has very, very good support abilities for the class and role he's trying to fill. Now, notice again, there's two abilities here that upgrade certain skills. Note that right now, and then we're going to look at that, and we're going to see what those do as we go through his skills. Okay, let's look at his counter moves real quick, and his EX buffs are just going to be on here, but we can't read it. His counter skills, he's kind of Raldor-y here. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, Raldor has a counter skill that gives him a 50% chance to hit back. So Raldor like gets in your face, you hit him, he has a pretty good chance of returning that damage. Auron also has that, and he has that as both a fist attack like Raldor, but he also gets it from his main job for a slashing based attack, because Auron is a great sword user, so it's important that that attack is slashing based. Now, to get it to 50%, you have to run his support ability that upgrades agility, which is a pretty dang good ability, right? So if you want Auron to move fast, get in somebody's face, cool, you're also going to get a 50% chance to trigger his slashing counterattack. That counterattack also decreases defense by 25 for the target. So you can start to see a couple things here. One, Auron can go fast, and two, he's going to be kind of an anti-tank / anti-defense bruiser killer. He has defense pin from his support abilities. Then he has a counter move that decreases defense. Really cool. The pugilist one is a punching based one, so I'm not going to talk about that a lot because I doubt you run Monk Auron, but maybe. And then his last one is just a regular counterattack from Soldier that you're probably not going to run. Then notice he does get 2 EX buff upgrades, so we will cover those as we find them, because I'm going to assume that a lot of people are taking this person to 120. I know I am. Okay, his main job skills. Oh, let's get into it. This is about to get really interesting. Okay, he has a 14 AP, 121% damage attack with 8 casts and some range. So if you leave that on, he's just going to always have access to a cheap move he can do that's not an auto attack. That's pretty neat. Okay, his next one is a buff, increase accuracy by 30 and critical hit rate by 30 for self. That seems good. Probably leave that on. 28 TP is nice. If you upgrade that, this is from his EX job upgrade. It will give you that accuracy and critical hit, but also 20 more defense penetration. So you can see again, you can layer this with his passive abilities, his support abilities. Now you have a buff that increases defense pin and a support ability that increases defense pin, and this dude might be hitting tanks really hard. Okay, he also has a 100% hit chance ability with a little bit of range that's 2 hit and does 170% damage. Good. He has an AoE immobilize attack that it looks kind of like it hits like Elsie's healing debuff attack, but it said it has immobilize. This is probably one of his, well, it has AoE, so any skill with AoE is useful for that, so I'm thinking you're probably leaving that on. He also has a barrier breaking attack with a range of 3 for 24 AP. It gets upgraded, so when he does that barrier break attack, after the upgrade, it also increases his slash attack by 20 for 3 turns. Cool. It seems like both his EX skill upgrades are good. Now, if you take him all the way to 120, you'll also get access to the skill on the bottom, which is really, really good. If you've ever used these soldier main jobs before, like Christmas Ramada, they love to use Paralyzing Edge. He has like a way better version of Paralyzing Edge that does 200% damage, has a 3 range on it, and has a 25% chance to inflict Paralyze for 3 turns. That's a really good move. I'm just telling you, like, I've seen soldiers work before. They love that ability. He has a very nice main job. Now, again, notice the upgrades from EX. I think those are both worth getting if you're thinking about taking him to 120. Let's look at some of his sub-job skills. From his main job, he has a attack and magic break that is very close range with 4 casts and it's cheap. If you're building like, I'm going to get up in people's face and duel them, Auron, I think that's a really useful ability right there. He also has a 10% regen he can cast on himself and his allies. You probably would use that more to control his turn 1 movement, right? Get him to run next to people, cast the buff. So he has access to that if you need it for some reason. From his pugilist job, unless you're running him as a monk, you kind of want to disregard the AP moves here because, you know, besides the one that gives him defense, well, he gets defense penetration from a buff at the bottom there, 30 TP, increases his strike attack and gives him defense pin. Again, though, it's strike attack. You probably aren't running pugilist sub job on him unless you want that defense and HP up buff, which is pretty good. Okay, next, let's look at his soldier sub job. Pretty basic, right? He's got the soldier sub job basic kit, which is good, by the way, because it gives you access to those consume your own HP to do massive amounts of damage attacks. If you look at the bottom there specifically, he has the one that is point blank AoE that hits the 4 spaces around him, and he has the ranged version of that. The ranged version is actually a lot cheaper, which is surprising. The point blank one does hit for 10% more damage. He has the consume your own HP 10% for a 50% attack buff. That seems really good on him because his base attack is so high. So soldier sub job might be the way to go if you're going pure DPS Auron. It's probably what I will lean into, either that or I will look more toward his main job if I want that early turn movement control. Okay, his limit break is really interesting. Look at the bottom here. 200% damage, increases defense pen by 40 for 3 turns to self. So that's bigger than his other defense penetration buffs, which means it's good. It's 58 AP, which is really steep, but it hits in a square. A 3x3 square at a range of 4. Well, you can target a range of 4, which extends it out to 5, actually. I think this move's going to be really dang good. Now, you're going to need to control him to get this off. He's going to need bells. He's going to... Excuse me. He's going to need to do something on turn 1 besides run at the enemy, because he's going to need to generate this kind of AP, get this attack off, and then still be generating more AP to be useful the rest of the fight. However, I think that thing is going to demolish some tanks, especially defense tanks. Okay. Let's go on now. We're done with his skills. Let's talk about builds for this guy, like gear, vision cards, stuff like that. On the screen right now, you see his event sword. Now, we don't know when we're getting this event sword yet. We actually don't know what part of the anniversary we'll get Auron in yet. But check this thing out. He's an ice attack unit, and if you use ice attack units like Victora or Agrius or Gilgamesh, you know they typically have weapons that give them that 30 ice attack up. Oh, well, don't feel left out, Auron lovers. You get his greatsword. His very own version comes with 161 attack if you run it as the attack type, 30 ice attack up, and 15 slash attack up for self. If you're building this guy, farm this event. This sword is going to like level him up a whole nother tier. This is probably why he's so highly ranked on the JP tier list, because he looks like he's going to do a ton of damage from his kit, but he also has those like that clutch ice weapon that the ice units get in this game. Okay, let's continue on. What about his armor, vision cards, espers, stuff like that? Nothing too complicated here. The only real terrible thing is he can't wear Uldoa's TMR. That would have been a really nice synergy with him to get that AP region and get the defense pin, but he can't actually wear it. So you're probably going to want to go bells if you're running him as your main damage source. He doesn't wear armor, he wears cloth. So look to like the Fidelis robe that we built before, the Elven Cloak for defense. There's also some TMRs like Reigns and Thancreds that are like kind of sleeper good on him, just depending on how you want to build him, what teams you're trying to fight, etc. As far as vision cards and espers, the Halloween vision card, Exorcist, is going to give him more defense penetration because the unit buff on that is defense pen, so he might want to go that route, especially if you have somebody else running a slash attack up card. And then I also want to highlight here some like sleeper MR cards that would be really good on Auron. And that's all of them, basically, that have slash attack up for the group. There is now this growing family of slash attack up MR cards. We just got the new one with Sir O on it. There's the Ketones card. There's the Path to Revenge card with that really good artwork on it. These are all really good cards for the unit buff, as well as for the slash attack for the group. So if you're hurting in the vision card department and you're picking up Auron, I think those would be a good substitute for a UR card. Espers is just your basic stuff, like Odin's going to be your #1 guy. Any of the other slash attack Espers on a matchup to matchup basis, depending on who you're trying to fight, are going to be really good. Okay, now we're to that point in the video where I say if I'm going to pull, if you should pull, and we'll kind of talk about why. So first of all, I spoiled it at the beginning. I am definitely going to pull this unit. I'm literally named after him. As a kid, he was one of my favorite Final Fantasy video game characters. Like, I'm going for him on those bases, plural basis is, whatever. I'm going for him on those reasons no matter what. But I also think he's going to be a super high quality unit. And if you need a damage dealer, if you need someone who's a tank killer, someone who can outduel other bruisers in the game, I think Auron is going to be a cool way to go. For one, he's ice, which means he's going to synergize with Agrius. Anybody who synergizes with Agrius is like a win in PvP. He has a multi-hit attack for PvE. He has a 100% hit attack to hit evade units. And I think he pairs really well with the other ice attack units in the game, like Victora, like Winter Victora, etc. Because you can start using his master ability and splitting your damage types to make you harder to deal with in PvP. He's kind of the first, like, well, he's our first EX job for Ice, right? He's going to be our first 120 Ice unit, and so I'm excited for him for that no matter what. Okay, if you are going to go for him and you need some Amazon coins, please do consider supporting this channel by buying Amazon coins through my affiliate link in the description. If you want to talk about some things live, visit the stream. I stream Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday from about 4 Central Time to 7 Central Time, US. And battery on my camera died, so no video for the very last part of this thing. I'll see y'all in the next one.